Shalom, and welcome to Da'ati. There's an old philosophical question that we've all asked ourselves at one time or another. How much is enough? How much money do I have to give to be effective? 1,000, 100,000, a million, 100 million? How do I know that my contribution means anything? In the grand scheme of things, am I really helping? Is that kind word, loving gesture, or act of kindness really going to do anything in the grand scheme of the world? And the answer is surprising. Yes and no. Let me explain. When it comes to us being an island by ourselves, alone, marooned out somewhere in the ocean, alone, with no other human connection, then what we do is relatively meaningless, because all of it's based upon us, self-aggrandizement, ego. But if I conjoin myself, if I love my fellow, if I have groupings and connections to others, the little bit I give can be a tremendous difference. So let me explain. We're currently now in the miracle of Hanukkah. We're dealing with the 8 days of the celebration of lights. And as mentioned before in a previous video, there are two miracles that we celebrate. One is the military victory, and the other is the light. Now, both of these are tied together by one common theme. A little bit can do a lot. In the case of the war, a small band of brothers called Maccabees got together and they overthrew the much larger Assyrian Greek army. In the case of the light, a flask of oil only good for a day burned 8 days. So in both cases, the little bit made a big difference, and it's a miracle that we celebrate millenniums later. So in a very similar way, imagine, for example, a scale. We call this in the material sciences the point of critical mass. You have an even stack scale. The one more you put here, or the one more you put there, tips. Meaning, the little bit that you do when you bind yourself to other people's behaviors, meaning if there's a charitable fund happening, there's many people involved. If you can only give a little bit of an amount, who knows if that amount that you give will tip the scales? Maybe a kind word given to somebody who's been through years and years of therapy, years and years of doctors and people who are clinically giving advice. Maybe your word, your hug, your reassurance can be the point of critical mass. So you see, it is true that the little bit we do is meaningless if we're on our own. But if we connect ourselves to others, if we're part of the family of humanity, if we give from a good, loving place in the heart, we don't know if our point will in fact be that point of critical mass that tips the scales in someone else's life from darkness to light, from galut, exile, to redemption. So, happy Hanukkah to all. And remember, the little things that you do, the small flask of oil, the little band of brothers, the effort that you put forth when conjoined to others may be that actual thing that brings a consummate redemption. Be blessed, have a wonderful week, and I will see you again next time.